Today, going to take a quick look at zapping for the LaserActive. This is a pretty strange one, so I thought it might make a interesting demonstration video. Okay, so when you think typically when you think of the LaserActive, the LD games are pretty much either games like Triad Stone, you know, the Dragon's Lair style, animated, hit the button at the right time kind of games, or they're pornography, like Virtual Cameraman and the like, or they're silly edutainment discs that really are just kind of pointless. But then there's a few oddities on the system that are just fucking weird and don't really have a genre, and this is one of them. So yeah, the Japanese title is Zapping. This is really not a game at all, like not even an interactive, like movie kind of game. This is basically a movie. Literally, this is 100% movie, but it actually requires the Mega LD. I believe there is also a PC Engine LD ROM version as well, but I have the Mega LD version, which I'm gonna admit I bought this for like 980 yen. So this one's pretty cheap if you can find it in Japan. But mainly because this is in fact a Laserdisc movie. This is not a game at all. This is a straight up movie. It's actually there isn't a whole lot of real information out there. There's a lot of internet rumors and whatnot, but as you can see, you know, this is all in German. This is actually, yeah, the movie was filmed in Germany originally, although oddly enough it's supposed to take place in New York, so like they use US cash, and they pretend like it's New York, even though like the taxi signs, the police uniforms and everything is still in German. The movie's dual language, either the original English or Japanese dub. Now, as you can see, now you have different scenes. See, the reason that this actually requires, you know, game hardware is because it uses the kind of the memory. Alright, this is essentially one movie split in half, or two movies glued together. You've got Stefan the dude and Christine the girl, and the movie is basically split into two halves. One half is completely from his perspective, one half is completely from her perspective. Now, originally this was shown on Japanese TV. This is coming from this right here, from Fuji Television, and they showed basically both halves on TV at the exact same time. Meaning the idea was that, like, if you watched one station, you'd watch it from his perspective. If you watched from the other station, you watched from her perspective. And shit, my battery's dying. I gotta switch to manual. Alright, sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, so basically this was shown on TV 2 times. And so the idea was, this is kind of like one of those experimental university films. So yeah, it was on 2 stations at once, and you would flip back and forth between the 2 stations whenever you wanted to go back between the 2 perspectives. In a sense, making the audience the director, and making them and seeing what parts of the movie the audience wants to see. Of course, the problem with that is that, well, it's kind of neat. What I'm going to do in this video is show you a few examples, because this is like a 2-hour-long movie. So it's not. So I'll just do a few, and it's also actually a pretty decent movie, so I don't want to ruin it. But too much. But yeah, there are some parts where both characters are in the same scene, and in that case, switching between the two allows you to see, like, through his eyes or through her eyes. And one of the scenes I'm going to show you is kind of nifty, because I'll get in more into the movie itself in a minute, but this movie's pretty dark. So there's a scene where he's all drugged and really drugged up and really fucked out of his mind. So you see kind of his, like, his sort of hallucinations and what he thinks he sees, but she's like totally fine at that point, so you see what she sees, which is like what's really going on in the real world. So you could switch back between the two at will. And that's basically why it uses the LaserActive. I'm assuming it uses the LaserActive's kind of memory thing. Because you can... How this works is you control it with the normal controller. And you can just hit a button and switch between the two sides instantly. Like, not even half a second delay. And you can just sit there and mash it and go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's actually fairly impressive. You can also use the PAX SRAM, and you can actually save which scenes you've seen. So in a sense, you can save your own cut of the movie, like I want to see this scene and then this scene, and have it auto-switch back. So in a sense, you can kind of make your own director's cut and show it off to friends in a way. But then there are also quite a few scenes that are totally different. Like, he's doing one thing while she's off doing another. And in this case, this is a movie that the first time you watch this, if you ever get a hold of one of these, I recommend watching it at least 3 times. The first time, I would just flick around and have fun with it. Though, admittedly, I think this would drive some people insane because it's like back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. But then after I did that, I went through and I watched it completely from his side and then completely from her side. No switching at all. So to make sure I watched every single scene. Because you do need to watch every scene if you want to get the entire story. And the movie itself is actually pretty decent. This is actually, honestly, one of the creepier movies I've seen in a long time. It's very, very experimental. In a sense, it's a serial killer movie. Our main dude here, Stefan, he's our main protagonist in a way. Basically, he draws, like, serial killer comics, like girls being murdered in all kinds of nasty ways. Although he quit, he gave it up. And then he's offered a... And then, of course, he has, like, no money anymore. And, so he's offered a job, which he takes. And Christine here basically kind of works for the guy that he gets the job from. Which, I don't want to ruin the movie too much, but he thinks he's going to do, like, draw more art, but really they're just using him to smuggle some drugs in. And, yeah, there's a creepy serial killer. This movie would definitely... Well, when this was released back in the early 90s, it probably would have been rated R. Honestly, in today's rather watered-down market, it'd probably be rated NC-17, to be honest. It's, yeah, it's got quite a bit of nudity and, like, freaky nudity. And the scenes are actually pretty violent. It's, there's a lot of drug use. This is not a happy, fun family movie. It's pretty fucked up, to be honest. And I'm quite pleased with my about $12 purchase. It's, definitely, if you have a LaserActive, this one's really cheap. At least in Japan, anyway. This is if you like weird, freaky movies, this is a good one. And especially, like, if you're into that kind of more experimental, like, what the fuck, you know, experimental film stuff. This is the kind of thing that, you know, people don't really make so often. The switching back and forth thing, it's a really good idea, but I'm sure, like, you know, if I was a kid and my mother was watching this kind of thing, she'd be like, stop changing the channels, just pick one, stop going back and forth, even though that's kind of what you're supposed to do. So anyway, let's just start this up, and, so the Japanese title is just Zapping Satsui. Kind of like, just literally like zap, 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 murder. The actual name of the movie is, Murderous Decisions, I believe. So, the beginning part of the movie is, completely the same. It lets you know, it goes split screen when you can start switching, and I think I'll just let the first part of the intro run, because it's weird, man. This is a fucked up movie, but quite enjoyable if you're right in the right mood for it. after that I'll probably pause the camera and skip around to yeah, maybe the one scene I described, because it doesn't really give anything away and it's pretty decent. So yeah, you actually use the controller, you can't use the remote. And yeah, file mode. So if you want to save what you record, and no, we don't need to do that. Yeah, you can switch on the fly. Those between the two character viewpoints, but at this point they're exactly the same. Yeah, Murderous Decisions. That's the real title of the movie. So it's definitely one of the more unique discs on the LaserActive. I want to say games, but this is not a game at all. The LaserActive is one of the weirdest libraries I've ever seen. There's a small library of really good games that are actual games, and then you've got all these like edutainment titles like Melon Brains, which is just a documentary about dolphins and some real family-friendly stuff. But then there's about 5 games that are actually, well, softcore porn. There's nothing hardcore, but they are in fact pornography, and they're some of my favorites, to be honest. Hurry up credits. Yeah, something I can't really fast forward. Here we go. Yeah, I'll just let the intro run until the
This place doesn't change. Someone should do something. Clean it up. It's disgusting. God, did I turn off the gas or not? I'll phone Anna as soon as I get there. I can't. It's no good. I can't do that. He won't let me. It must be off, I'm sure. Poor Anna. She needs a mother. That's what she needs. A good mother. It's Mama, darling. I'm sorry I've been away so long. Do you forgive me, sweetheart?
Yeah, the serial killer is, he goes by the name the Pearl Killer. Every victim, he crashes the pearls down.
Now look what you've done. What's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? Why do you do these things? That's it. I want to go home. It's finished. What's this?
The whole movie, I'm guessing, didn't have a whole lot of a budget, so it's got this kind of soft graininess to it that really adds to the mood. And I'm not really a big fan of HD. It's because stuff looks too clean and too pretty. Especially in creepy stuff like this. The film grain just adds so much to it. But yeah, that's how the movie starts. So I'm gonna pause it here. Yeah, there's our main character. Or no, you know what? I'm gonna let this run until we get to the split off part. Just 'cause it's a fucking weird movie. You'll see what I mean in a minute.
Stefan?
Could be here all night. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Langnow.
Yeah?
Do I disturb?
No. Hi, John.
Stefan!
I'm on the phone. Okay?
She's still there?
Yeah.
It's gonna end in tears, Stefan.
I know. Anyway, switch to RTV7.
A Nazi doctor alive.
You kidding?
You got it? The doctor?
This lady
Yeah, got it.
says
Yeah.
that little girl was her. This lady says that was over 40 years ago. This lady says she
Okay, I want to watch this.
Bye.
She says
Bye.
she'll always remember you. Please, ladies and gentlemen! No one's on trial here. Mr. Langer, is there anything you'd like to say to her?
See, yeah, this kind of trash TV station is
Strange to think that this
yeah,
was that little girl.
the
Why, that must mean that you must be...
That's right.
yeah, this part's just fucking weird, man.
with the scars to prove it.
I'll show you.
Yes, she's going to take her shirt off. Thank God she doesn't remove anything more than that. Like,
Just a little
first time I saw this, I was like, what the fuck? Now you can experience it as well. Seriously, what the fuck? I don't either. Or I don't think anyone else watching this will either. Yeah, there's Christine. She's actually the producer on this late night trash talk show. So she's she's our main female lead. Which of course our two haven't met yet. Alright. There's about a good 5 to 10 minutes before the split off, so I'm just gonna stop it for now. Just wanted to make you watch the nasty old lady take her shirt off, because I had to watch it. Alright, go back. Okay, we're back.
Okay.
Yeah, here we go. Save split screen. From this point on, you can switch between his perspective to hers. So this is where they first meet. And this is like totally seamless. Just tap, 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 tap. It's actually pretty impressive. And this is why this requires the LaserActive to use. But yeah, you could probably drive people crazy by going, wah! But totally seamless though.
Parcel for Miss Baumgarten?
Her view? His view.
That's right, it's here somewhere.
So, it's definitely a neat experiment.
It's urgent. In a hurry.
We could have a drink. Dinner, perhaps?
I really have to go. The parcel? You know, don't you?
Yeah, I skipped the part, but he opened the parcel he was supposed to deliver, and yeah, it's full of cocaine.
Miss, donation for baby Jesus.
So like if you watch him, or if you're watching from him, you know, you just see that. If you're watching from her, you see what she's actually doing. From his view, she's watching it, he's experiencing it. Man, don't you just hate being raped by angels?
Hey, dinner perhaps?
That's pretty damn cool, though.
Hi there.
And then, yeah, from this point on, the entire movie is split like this. It isn't until the epilogue at the very, very end that it comes back. There is one scene in the middle where they meet that's the same from both sides, but other than that one scene, it's pretty much like almost two separate movies. It's like two totally different halves. And you know, this is still like the intro part, so you're just seeing like the opening stuff from both halves. It's when you get later on that it goes to the total, like, two, like, you know, they experience totally separate things, like separate murders, separate scenes, and that's where, you know, things get cool, which is why you really have to watch the movie, like, well, at least twice if you want to see everything. And if you don't see everything, you'll miss out. Sorry, I'm gonna pause and go to one more scene I want to show you. See, so like here, like he's all whacked out on drugs right now. So like from his perspective, it's like, woo. From hers, you can just see him stumbling around like, ouch, boink. Woo. It's all echoey, and from hers, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? But then see, some parts like this are the same, but they're few. So she sees him like that, but he's just like, yeah. So anyway, I think that's about enough. Yeah. You can hit start at any time to stop, open it, and I disabled the save mode, so I can't select those, but save, edit, replay scenes that you saved. So yeah, in a sense, it's like make your own director's cut. And it's definitely a neat experiment. The idea of, you know, just switching around between two characters whenever you want. Of course, the failure is that you have to watch it multiple times, or you're gonna miss out on, you know, scenes, and you'll miss out on, well, you'll miss out on story. But, overall, though, it's definitely, you know, there's really not much else like this. I'm certainly not aware of anything else like this. So it's, well, in Japan anyway, it costs virtually nothing. So it's a pretty nice thing to pick up if you have access to a LaserActive player. You know, it's not like AAA material movie-wise, but it's definitely enjoyable, and it's in a very creepy, fucked up sort of way. And, yeah, kind of a neat experiment. Something that I think was probably a failure, and would probably be a failure if you saw this kind of thing more often, but, as a one-time experiment, it's kind of a neat thing to mess around with and show your friends. So, yeah, that's Zapping for the LaserActive. Hope you liked it. Get around to some more videos sooner or later. I love laser discs. So badass looking. That's all. See ya.